Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is October 9th, and today's episode is going to cover a sad milestone in Rocket Pool protocol. We're going to be talking about team funding vote. We're also going to be talking about the GMC's town hall, the meeting notes from that. On the Ethereum side, we're going to be talking about more real-world assets coming onto Ethereum. We're going to be talking about ENS and Google and Gravita and a whole lot more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to be starting here with this sad milestone, and this milestone is about the amount of ETH that is in the Rocket Pool deposit pool. Now, you might see on the screen that it says the maximum size is 18,000 ETH. However, the current size is 40,175 ETH. How did that happen? Right? Like, why is there more ETH in the deposit pool than the maximum amount? Well, the deposit pool gets more ETH coming into it when people exit their validators, and that ETH, basically some of that ETH gets put into the deposit pool. The person takes their deposit back, and the remainder of it goes into the deposit pool. Now, when there is a premium in the market, then when people want to sell their ETH, instead of putting it into the deposit pool and just getting ETH back, they go to the secondary market and get a little bit of extra ETH back. And that's been the perpetual state for Rocket Pool, is that there's been some premium on our ETH for the last few months. And the reason for that is, of course, is because you can't mint our ETH on the protocol itself. So if you want to swap your ETH back into ETH, then you just go to the secondary market instead of coming to the deposit pool. So there's like some mechanics at play here. And for that reason, the deposit pool is above 40,000. However, we as a community have high hopes that this is the peak. And that's kind of shared here from Halululo, who actually shared the milestone in trading and saying that we did it, 42,690 next. I think 42,069 would have been the better number, but that's okay. And Epinef says the next step is 60,000. And Halululo said the top will actually be this month. Or at least I really hope so. And I actually agree with Halululo here, that I believe the top will also be in this month. And the reason for that is because the ETH-only validators will come online, and then we will have NodeSet going online as well. So my hope and dream is that, we can empty out the deposit pool and get a queue for our ETH minting. Get a node operator deposit queue set up with the deposit pool staying empty, and then more people minting our ETH to get those validators online. But that might be, hopefully within the next few weeks. So like we were talking about yesterday, NodeSet goes live hopefully very soon, maybe a week or 2 weeks away. And then we've got up to the 28th, which is just under 3 weeks away for Saturn 0 to go live. So with these big updates coming online, within a matter of weeks or days, hopefully they can really eat away at that deposit pool. Now, here's something really interesting that Halululo shared as well. He says Marco's bond reducing the rest of his marriage pools is already going to clear half the deposit pool. That's 700 credit mini pools. So this is actually really interesting as well. So Marco Barco is one of the biggest node operators, the biggest node operator in the Rocket Pool community. And Marco's, gotten into some marriages where he gets RPL from other people, and he has the ETH, and then they kind of like divide it out. Well, some of his marriages, they haven't reduced the bond, so they haven't gone from 16 ETH validators down to 8 ETH validators. And the benefit of going down to the 8 ETH validators is that you'll just get higher rewards. So there'll be a strong incentive for Marco to reduce the bond size for his validators, and then that will bring up 700 mini pools. So 700 times 16, that's like nearly 10,000 ETH there, basically. Which is amazing. So we're really hoping that the 700 mini pools can go down to 8 ETH, and then for the 8 ETH that'll be like closer to 5,000 ETH instead of just around 5,000 ETH instead of 10,000 ETH, but that's still absolutely amazing because, of course, that'll take out 20,000 ETH with it from the deposit pool, which is half. So I'm hoping that, we get some big hits, and of course, that's quickly going to improve the TVL for the protocol as well. So that would be really, really exciting to see that happening. So, I think that I agree with Halulu here that I think the top for the deposit pool will be this month. There is a small chance, I've been saying this for the last few days, that after NodeSet and Saturn Zero go live, there might be a 20 or 30% chance that we never see a full deposit pool ever again. With Saturn 1, I upped that to like 75% chance that we never see a full deposit pool ever again. And with Saturn 2, depending on how we change the adjustable revenue split stuff, it's a pretty much 100% chance that we will never see a full deposit pool ever again, or an overflowing one for sure. So that is really awesome. And I'm really hoping that, NodeSet and Saturn Zero launch successfully and strongly, and it all goes well. So that'll be what I'm keeping my eyes on. Okay, let's talk about the team's funding. So you all know that, RPIP 37, the team now gets funding in part from the PDAO, and this is because they turned off their the money coming into the team from the ODAO nodes went down by 90%. So they were like, hey, can you guys pay us? And we were like, yeah, that's cool, we'll do that last year. But then this year, we have started to be involved in the process a lot earlier, and in October to October is when their funding runs. So Scuzzle says the time has come to fund the core team for the next year. This follows the required roadmap prioritization discussion and will be amended to will be an amendment to RPIP 10 requiring a PDAO vote. The protocol development fund process can be found here. Then text of the expenses can be found here. If this vote passes, the team will continue to be funded at 5% of RPL inflation, paid in one lump sum of 52,000 RPL. So there's a sentiment poll, and here there were 14 respondents, and 13 of those said that they supported going to vote. Ramana had a question, and then there was some feedback here. So there was discussion on GitHub, on Discord, and Ramana said quarterly updates on the roadmap. What is the roadmap? Can you clarify what this refers to in the expense terms? And then Scuzzle says a couple of lines have been included into the expense report to clarify what the roadmap is and when it's expected to be released. So here there's a link, the GitHub pull request to make that clear. And then Scuzzle says the sentiment poll is expected to end shortly in order to get the results of the votes before the 25th. If you would like to vote or comment, please do so in the next 24 hours. And then Nosho brought up this point from Langers, basically saying that team will not write RPIPs anymore, as he was upset with the governance process. And then the RPIP 37 actually saying that the team must draft RPIPs for new protocol features. So how are we going to square that? And Epinef says, to me, RPIP 37 will make a lot more sense if we read must participate in drafting Rocket Pool proposals or cannot make new protocol features without an RPIP. Ultimately, it seems like the PDAO should be the one leading these initiatives. The team frequently does it because the DAO is slow and unreliable. That will hopefully not always be the case as we mature. But then you can read some more points here from Epinef as well. But it looks like you all are going to have a new snapshot vote coming up, potentially in the next couple of days. And yeah, maybe even within 24 hours on Thursday, most likely. So you might see on Thursday night, Friday morning, but I might wait until Monday as well. But you'll have a new vote to vote on, and I expect this will pass the community. So that's pretty cool. And then going back to the Discord here, the trading was a little bit quiet. So I asked Patches, I said that the trading is really quiet, what's going on? And Patches says I was busy writing tests, check it out. And then he posted an output and talking about just some code stuff. I'm not really sure what's going on. So I said, what does it mean? Is testing going well? And he says the framework being built is going well and he's almost ready to start implementing version 10. So this is actually really awesome to see. And then Joe said, did you end up using Kotua for it? And Patch says, no, these are medium tests. And he says that, execution client and BN mock. And he says, yeah, but the mock support recorded histories from mainnet. So there's some technical stuff here that I don't fully understand, but it seems like development on the tree stuff is going really well from Patches. And we should be, hopefully, getting work started on version 10. So the timeline will be like, we have patches starting on version 10 work now, and then the RP 62 or Saturn 0 goes live on October 28th. And then the next rewards period will be, I think, around November 22nd. So from now, patches will have about 6 weeks to get the rewards tree done on time. And I think that's pretty likely to happen. So that would be amazing. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, today the GMC had its monthly town hall meeting that is open to the members of the community, whoever wants to attend. And what we do in these meetings is we kind of talk about the grants that have been accepted, some of the grants that have been applied for, kind of get the community's feedback on some of the decisions we've made or some of the ideas that the GMC has. And then shift and put together notes for the meeting. So it's open to the public. Anyone can come along and take part, ask questions, any of that stuff. And here we have notes. So one of the things that we talked about was Alpha Growth, which was a grant that we accepted last month. And the goal of Alpha Growth is to try to help Rocket Pool mint more RETH. And you might be like, hey, whack, like, what do you mean mint more RETH? The deposit pool is overflowing. It's got more than 22,000 extra ETH in there. Like, what do you mean mint RETH? Well, the idea, of course, is that, that will be emptied out pretty quickly, and Alpha Growth can start making those relationships now in order to start getting RETH minted. So there were some details here about what the GMC sees as Alpha Growth is doing and how it's all going and all that good stuff. And then there was some questions and comments about making sure that we're getting our money's worth. Like if we are paying them $60,000, which is what we've approved for 4 months of work, how much RETH are they going to be contributing to having minted, and how is that going to work? So those are the kind of questions that we really want to get answers to, and you can read the post to get more information. With Beacon Chain advertising, it says the advertising term with Beacon Chain is concluded. Have the reports and data, just need to compile everything and draft a summary. The data looks favorable so far, though the timing may have been suboptimal due to uncertainty around Rocket Pool's tokenomics. That said, I believe the campaign is valuable for brand awareness and overall brand building efforts. That's interesting. And then round 17 has begun. We won't be using subcommittees. All GMC members will be reviewing all grants. Rocket Fi, that's one of the applications that came in this month. Rocket Scan, there was an application for an alternative version of Rocket Scan to be built, and the GMC talked about that. And that was really interesting because Pateris was part of the meeting, and Pateris said that he plans to upgrade Rocket Scan, though he's unsure of the timeline and is not making any promises. He's open to providing a private copy to the GMC during the update process, but prefers not to open source it, and the GMC will likely discuss this option as an alternative during round 17 deliberations. And then there was a GMC marketing budget with Saturn about how we are going to promote our ETH minting, basically, and Saturn itself. And part of that will be with the RETH Growth Incubator taking part this month. It's an application this month, and it says WAC noted that the funds allocated to the IMC could potentially be better spent than on business development partners. So the idea is that, instead of promoting BD, like with Alpha Growth, would that money be better spent just giving it to the IMC potentially? And that was just trying to get understanding of return on investment. And then GMC plans to clarify the team's marketing strategies during the upcoming call tomorrow. So the GMC and the team will have their bi-weekly call. And then Patches Rescue Node, the GMC will seek to clarification on the ETH stakers plans for branding and promotion of the rescue node moving forward. So that was actually a really good call. Like, it was really productive, and I think we had some community members attend. We had some really good questions asked. So definitely read these notes if you want more information on what was said. Okay, next we have some news from Joe. So Joe yesterday spent some time in the Rocket Pool Discord, which was really nice to see. And I always love to see Joe in the Rocket Pool Discord. And he was actually asking a question, people asked him like that, now that you don't work for Rocket Pool anymore. And he says, I'm still around, and I'm still got really good relationships with the team. And I still like Hyperdrive, like what I've worked on was based on SmartNode and what he thought SmartNode version 2 would look like. But here, Kirag asked the question, as a node set principal, curious to hear your thoughts on Rocket Pool's current roadmap and RPIPs. And then he replied by saying, that's more of a Mike and Nick question, really. He said, I can speak personally, but won't be representative of NodeSet's official opinion, TM. So then Invis says, what's your personal take? And he says, I think you guys are putting a lot of faith into the ODAO, which is amusing considering how much people hate it. And the reason what Joe is saying here is that the ODAO are the ones who will be calculating the reward trees for the people who have ETH only validators, because they'll be getting some of their money from the smoothing pool, potentially between 5 to 9% of rewards will be coming from the smoothing pool. So that's going to put, like, making sure all those numbers are correct is going to be an ODAO duty. And that actually was replied by a thonk emoji by Noshua. And Patcher says, oof, Joe's been back a day and he's already getting thunked. And Joe said it was inevitable. And then Noshua replied by saying, every node operator is already putting maximum faith in the ODAO by using Rocket Pool in its current state. All of your ETH and all of your RPL in Rocket Pool can be taken instantly in the eventuality that the ODAO colludes together to change parameters to steal your money, basically. But he says, Wonder complaining about ODAO being given control over a portion of the rewards is quite silly. I think what Noshua means here, and I don't want to put words into his mouth, is that if you are worried about the ODAO, there's much bigger things to be worried about by the ODAO, not necessarily just about how the tree is generated and the rewards are distributed. And then Patches says, personally I'm putting my faith in the ODAO's general inertia, which of course he means that he doesn't think they're going to act in order to steal things. And Joe says, what's a good way to put this? I'm not sure I can without getting yelled at. And Patch says, you're going to get yelled at anyway. And he says, I can't think of a way of saying it without getting a segment on Rocket Fuel tomorrow. Let's just say that I'm happy that governance works enough that people can drive the protocol the way they want it to go. So that's where Joe kind of ends this point. But I love Joe. Joe's awesome. And I love getting Joe's ideas and feedback. Even though he's not part of the Rocket Pool team anymore, he's still orange and he'll always be orange in my heart. But I'm really happy that Joe's spending more time in the Rocket Pool Discord. I really hope that he can keep doing that, going forwards. But maybe I need to jump on a call with him to ask him what he really feels. Okay, let's move on to some staking news now. And there was a bit of drama in staking land yesterday where one of these validators actually got a 288 ETH block. So here, MEV Boost put out this tweet saying, "High proposer payment alert, validator Stakefish received 288 ETH, and there was a build of this person, slot 10,128,111, and they received that amount through the Flashbots relay. So if that was a solo staker, they'd be getting 8 validators from that, but this went to Stakefish, so I don't know what the exact who that money goes to, but that was definitely a nice amount of cash for that person. However, MEV Refund then had this tweet out saying that it's a little bit more complicated than it seemed. And it turns out that there was a black hat with the keys for a compromised withdrawal address, and then 288 ETH became available. What do you do? So if you're knucklehead, you immediately send out the mempool transaction with a 206 ETH gas fee, and when it's challenged, you say screw it and dump the entire stack. So if you have a look over here, there's a screenshot. The block was created, and it had a profit of 288 ETH, and then sending out the MEV rescue bundle. And I think what ended up happening was that there was a black hat, a hacker or someone who got access to this this ETH. These validators, and they with the compromised withdrawal keys, and the white hats were trying to fight over it, and then eventually they just ended up paying all the amount in fees. I think there was some really bad setup with paying some amount of ETH per GUI that was just obscenely huge, way huge. And then Nixo was like, this is insane, why? And then Chandong actually had an interesting point saying, since it went to Stakefish, isn't it highly likely, if not certain, that it'll be returned? MEV Refund says, certainly hope so, but my experience, validator returns are pretty rare. And Chandong says, I hope so too. Would think that it's surprising they don't consider Stakefish as a brand and mainstream marketing push, etc. Now, the only thing I can talk about here is Rocket Pool, right? So when money goes into Rocket Pool from a block, there's a couple of different things that happen. First of all, it gets divided out between the node operator and this is if the person is not part of the smoothing pool. It gets divided out between the node operator and the RETH rewards, the money that goes to them. So a big chunk of that is just inaccessible, right? The node operator will get their part, which is somewhere above, 50 55, 60%, somewhere around there, depending on what kind of validator they have. And then the rest of it will go to the RETH rewards. Whereas with one actually might be a bit less if they're on 16 ETH validators. It might be 8 ETH validators. Then it might be like 35 to 40% or something along those kind of numbers. However, if the person is in a smoothing pool, the node operator doesn't see that at all. It all goes to the contract, and there's no way of getting the ETH out of the contract except to distribute to members of the smoothing pool and to the RETH holders. So Rocket Pool actually can't give that money back if the money goes to Rocket Pool, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's quite rare. If it goes to a solo staker, if the person has their ENS or whatever attached to that validator, or their withdrawal address or their deposit address, then it might be that you can make an appeal to that person directly, which is a different dynamic. But for Rocket Pool, it's a smart contract. There's nothing you can do. I think Rocket Pool has been the recipient of a couple of really large blocks, and there's no way for us to give it back unless we went to the 1,000+ node operators telling them that hey, can you give that back please, which it's impossible to do. Okay, moving on to some Ethereum news here. We have more RWA, like real world assets, coming onto Ethereum. And here we have news of Guggenheim. So I covered this on Rocket Fuel a few weeks ago, but it looks like they're actually starting to do their on-chain activities now. And it says Wall Street titan Guggenheim has tokenized $20 million of commercial paper on Ethereum. The tokenization of traditional financial instruments has become one of the hottest areas on crypto for TradFi firms. This niche has grown to a market capitalization of $12 billion according to Real World Assets, XYZ. And here you can see that this has grown so much, and it is, it's going up and to the right? It's growing up really fast. So I think this is going to be a huge sector in crypto. Maybe not, in the next 6 months, maybe not in a year, but in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, that's when you're going to see like billions, if not trillions of dollars of assets coming on chain. And Ethereum just makes sense for that to be the place where it happens, because Ethereum is the most secure, the most decentralized, the most trustless, like just the most credibly neutral blockchain there is for these kind of assets. And the fact that they're using public Ethereum, I think, just speaks to the amount of trust that comes in. Now, $20 billion is not much for these $20 million is not much for a company like Guggenheim when them, managing 1,000 times that amount in assets. But this is like a trial, right? They're going to see if it works, if there's demand for the product, what kind of usage they get out of it, what kind of difficulties they encounter. Like, this is probably a pilot program. And if it goes well, then you'll be seeing a lot more of this, which I think is awesome. And here, Amin has a take on this, saying that with Ethereum accounting for over 65% of total value locked across DeFi, it's clear why traditional financial giants like Guggenheim partners are leveraging Ethereum for tokenized assets. Leading asset managers are also embracing Ethereum by offering ETFs, including BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, 21 Shares, Van Eck, and others. So what's happening here is, like I said as well in Rocket Fuel a few weeks ago, is crypto's going into TradFi with these ETFs, but TradFi is also coming into crypto with this like real world assets coming on chain. Of course, the biggest one of those is stable coins, but now we're seeing tokenized treasuries. We're seeing a whole lot of other things coming on chain as well, and like commercial paper, like from Guggenheim here. And the thing with Ethereum is that we have such huge amount of TVL, and the network effects are just gargantuan, that it makes sense to tap into that liquidity to put your product out there, because you want to make sure that your products have the security you need, that has the users that you need in order to use them. And other blockchains just don't have that capacity, right? Like, looking at some of the others that people are using nowadays or hyping nowadays, the amount of DeFi is a fraction of the amount of Ethereum, and the use cases are just a lot smaller in terms of like stablecoin uses or this real world asset stuff. They just doesn't have that depth of usage. I'm not saying that they won't develop it in the future as well. There's a chance that other platforms will have some real world assets coming online, but network effects here, Metcalfe's law, is incredibly strong. And the more you have on your network, the more people will come to your network, because it has the most amount of nodes on there, right? And that nodes is other TradFi companies, people, users, DeFi locked up. All of these things together is what makes Ethereum incredibly bullish for me going into 2025. If the bull markets kind of follow that same 4-year plan, I think it's only a matter of time before Ethereum, really catches up and starts pushing ahead with these narratives catching attention, a wider attention, because you know, I see crypto people in like who are not, Ethereum like native or ETH maxis, I guess if you want to call it, talking about ETH and Ethereum, and they say, oh, it's slow, it's whatever, there's nothing exciting happening there. However, blah blah blah, and they kind of like resign themselves when they're saying that, there's stuff happening on Ethereum. When those people kind of realize just how much is happening on Ethereum, and then they start shilling Ethereum, and then the price starts moving, then we're going to see the narrative shift completely. So these are the kind of things that make me really excited about Ethereum, and this is why I think 2025 is going to be an incredibly bright year for crypto, but definitely Ethereum as well. Okay, so talking about integrating assets, here we have ENS here pushing more limits on integrations. And not only, are we getting financial integrations, but we're also getting tech integrations. So here ENS says Google has officially integrated ENS, allowing users to search for any .eth name and check associated balances directly within Google search. So some of you may have noticed this integration a few months ago, and we're happy to report that the integration is now live for everyone. So I actually covered this on Rocket Fuel many months ago, but I think I was just one of the lucky people who had like that option turned on for me. But here now, this person like Articuno.eth put their address in Google. It showed them what their ETH balance is, 0.0122 ETH. And then it also tells them their ENS and their actual 0x address. So Pistolero says, now the whole world can quickly see how broke we are. So yeah, this is now available on Chrome. So you can search for any address and it will tell you what the ETH balance of that is. It gives you a link to Etherscan, so you can check what the tokens are on there as well. And yeah, it's pretty awesome that these integrations are happening. Here's really exciting. So Brantley from ENS had this post saying, "Oh, ENS, world domination plan continues. Like it has ticks with GoDaddy, PayPal, Venmo, and Google." And then Army.eth actually replied by saying, GoDaddy, PayPal, Venmo, Google, Uniswap, Coinbase, Brave, Base, MetaMask, Phantom, Etherscan. So the places where it's going, there's many places, whether those are on-chain or off-chain places, and ENS is being integrated, and it's going to become the standard for your on-chain identity. Is going to become the base of that. So I bought my ENS addresses for like 10-year periods, and I'll probably renew them when the ETH price goes up for like another 10 years or so. And I'm on the lookout for, my family members, their names, so I can like get those hoovered up for them and keep them safe. But this is where things are going. Like you're going to have an ETH address because so many people are going to be, acting on chain, and the best way to have your ETH address is with your ENS. So congratulations to ENS for hitting another landmark here. And then Josh here has an interesting take on that, saying that Ethereum doesn't have a business team. Ethereum has 100 business teams. So this is actually really interesting because, the Ethereum Foundation often gets criticized for not having a marketing department, not spending on marketing, and not, doing these kind of business relationships. So for example, if there's a company, there's no one from the Ethereum Foundation who goes to that company and says, hey, you should integrate to Ethereum, or hey, if you're launching a product, you should do that on Ethereum. What ends up happening is that protocols that are built on Ethereum then do that work for them instead. So you'll get ENS going to Google and saying, hey, integrate, ENS into Google, or I'm not sure, what the flow of that relationship was, but then there's other products as well, right? Like, Optimism, like, with their super chain, they're bringing online different companies, and then you have Arbitrum doing it. Like you've got a whole load of others like Aave and others doing this as well. So there's a whole lot of business development happening on Ethereum with these protocols, and then they're bringing their partners on chain, and that is to the benefit of everyone involved. And this is what I was just saying a few minutes ago about, nodes strengthening other nodes and adding more users to the network. The network effects, eventually get so big that it's unbeatable. And I think Ethereum has reached that escape velocity for crypto, and now, as long as it can keep developing in a healthy way, then it should be able to maintain a big chunk of that user base and not let it get taken away because of the moat that comes in with that. And That doesn't mean that we should be like, hey, we've won, let's just stay here. But the reality is that the network effects often follow a power law, where you get like one or two major entities and then a long tail of smaller entities that have smaller and smaller shares. And we see that in crypto like all the time, right? Like with Aave is like one of the big protocols in borrowing lending. Uniswap is a big exchange. Lido sadly is big in staking, and then the others are smaller. So sometimes it's possible to break this, like we're hoping Rocket Pool does with Lido, but in other cases it becomes really hard to beat that, and I think Ethereum has that advantage now, so that's pretty awesome. And then going back to the Rocket Pool community, sorry, not Rocket Pool community, Gravita community here. So next we have this update from Gravita. Now Gravita is a small platform that has a stable coin that is a crypto based stable coin, not like a real world asset based stable coin. The stable coin is called Grai, and they actually have a good relationship with the Rocket Pool community, with people who work there, who have worked in the Rocket Pool community in the past and been community members. But also, our ETH was one of the first tokens that they accepted for as collateral for their stablecoin. Now they've got a huge announcement coming out today, and this thing, we know many of you have been awaiting the token launch, and we are truly grateful for your patience and enthusiasm. The path we're paving is one of meticulous care, ensuring the launch of our governance token will be nothing short of spectacular. Here's what we can share as we move forward in our journey. So they said that we're focusing on XRETH and XRPL first. So this is the product that they're launching with NodeSet that is built on top of Rocket Pool. I'm going to have Rhett, who is the founder of Gravita, on Rocket Fuel soon to talk about these ideas and more. I think my camera just turned off, but I'm going to plow on instead of stopping recording. So let me just remove that. Okay, so sorry you can't see my face anymore, but here they said that they want to focus on XRETH and XRPL first, and they want that to release in October. So hopefully, we're a third of the way through October now. Their target a little while ago was the middle of October, but that wasn't official target. It was just bits and pieces of words that we were hearing from people, including from the Gravita team. Hopefully, we'll have an official announcement of a launch date any day now. But yes, this launch will serve as the building blocks of our future successes, laying the foundation for decentralized staking ecosystem we're envisioned alongside NodeSet. And then they said that the governance token airdrop is on the horizon. It says we're planning to roll out the governance token roughly 2 months after the XRETH and XRPL launch in December. That's our current target. We want to ensure the environment is ripe for positive momentum, and this token will create excitement while also providing a powerful mechanism for long-term sustainability of the Gravita protocol. And then they said that if you're earning marks, that's going to start happening at an increasing rate, and they're working with the community in their hearts. And if you have any questions about timelines, utility, and next steps, rest assured this delay is to ensure that we can deliver the promise of our vision. The launch timing is meant to maximize success, and we'll keep you in the loop every step of the way. So if you're interested in Gravita, go check out their protocol. But if you are interested in Rocket Pool and staking, then that product that they're launching with NodeSet is hopefully coming soon. So that's incredibly exciting. Okay, going back to Twitter here, and we have an update from L2B, and they're saying that they have a new fresh look on their website. So they're excited to announce some updates to improve your experience on the website. So they're saying, let's dive into what's new. So they have a new summary page that highlights the most interesting data up front, like TVL and activity stats are right there where you need them. Then L2's and L3's pages have merged, and they're now in the same table as L2's. And they've added a new filter as well, so you can choose between your host chain and customize the views that you need. And then they've got individual risks for L2s and L3s and different risk parameters that are needed for those. And then I've got a refreshed side navigation bar as well. And they're saying this is just the beginning. So if you're actually going to have a look at the website, it actually looks really nice now, where they've got the value locked on the top, and then they have the activity metrics. So these are things that people really want to see. However, they just show you the last, I think, month. So the information is quite limited on the front page. You really have to dig into the different charts to get more information. But if you look at that, then you can see that their total ETH locked is at all-time highs right now, around 14.1 6 million ETH, which is amazing. Activity, which is another thing that people really care about. You can see that if you look at rollups only, we actually hit an all-time high on October 3rd, which was absolutely amazing as well. And these kind of numbers are just showing you that, Ethereum L2s are working extremely well. And you can actually go and have a look now at all these different pieces of information. Like, do you want to see, OP stack and see what's there? So it tells you all the different OP chain, OP chains, and what's going on with them. And there's some of these that I've never even heard of, which is absolutely amazing. But there's 41 OP chains now, which is amazing to see. So that's really cool. And you can get all this information now at your fingertips with this new L2B, which is really fun to play around with. Okay, next we have news from Optimism. So we were just talking about Optimism. They have a new airdrop that is going out to the community, and they're saying that if you use the super chain, now you can reap the benefits. And their airdrop number 5, so it says on chain together you get benefits together. So they are sending out 10 million OP tokens to 54,000 users, and they've still got 550 million OP tokens for future airdrops. So that is $1 billion basically that they have set aside for future airdrops, which is just an incredible amount of money. When you look at the Rocket Pool treasury, the IMC has about $1 million. Sorry, the IMC spends all its money, so it doesn't really have that much, but the GMC has about $1 million, and the PDAO has, I think, like $2 or $3 million, something like that. Like, there's not that much money in there. So, well, no, maybe even less than that, actually. I'm not sure of the exact amount, but it's not much. So when you think that the OP, chain has $1 billion to spend, you can know that their growth is going to be pretty much guaranteed going forwards. So what happens is, the criteria here is that if you interacted with 10 different contracts across the superchain ecosystem, then you're eligible for an airdrop. And the amounts that people have been getting are not that high, but some people have gotten more than $1,000, which is pretty cool. So yeah, congrats to those guys. Okay, talking about some other news now, and the big news from yesterday was this documentary coming out from HBO, and here Aggregation News says that the leaked video from the HBO documentary suggests that HBO believes Peter Todd is Satoshi. And then that was another take as well before the episode came out. Here David is saying footage from the HBO Bitcoin documentary shows that they pin Peter Todd as Satoshi Nakamoto. This is complete nonsense. So these were the very early takes as the news broke. And then Adam Cochran wrote a little tweet as well that actually got a lot of publicity. And he said, Peter Todd was still doing his undergraduate degree when Bitcoin was launched. He first contributed to it in 2012, then did Mastercoin and CoinKite in 2014, and open timestamps. So he's done cool stuff, but he's wildly young to be Satoshi. He frequents Bitcoin podcasts and very different ideological views than Satoshi about Bitcoin. There's no reason for him to have vanished in 2011. He'd be sitting on a fortune of at least $70 billion plus in Bitcoin, all untouched while still alive, which makes it a lot more unlikely. He says if the documentary wants to make that claim, they better have one hell of a smoking gun. Otherwise, they're just placing a target on someone's back. And if it is Todd, himself has said that you can just go ahead and sign away with any, known. And he says if it's Todd himself that says he's Satoshi, then go ahead and sign with any Satoshi private keys, which of course no one has ever done before. So that is definitely, the take before the episode came out. And then just because we were covering Adam's take, we'll go back to Adam after the episode. And he said, what a bust. Wild speculation, lacks understanding of the tech that rules it out, no smoking gun, and irresponsibly names someone as Satoshi who is alive today, who says they aren't Satoshi, and does so without solid proof. The documentary even gets the dates of Todd's involvements with Bitcoin wrong. The entire thing is based on the filmmaker not understanding someone being snarky on the internet and assuming two snarky responses mean that Todd is Satoshi. And then Adam actually goes on to say that he thinks Satoshi is Hal Finney, which is what I think as well. But here's Peter Todd, if you want to have a look. He's a Bitcoin developer and he's been around for a while, but he says that basically he's not Satoshi. So That's something to keep in mind. But there was a lot of hubbub about this documentary over the last couple of days. Crypto Twitter and others like really promoted it and like really wanted to see what the information was. Most people had the expectation that it's going to be a damp squib, and it seems like that's what it turned out to be. The content for the documentary before the reveal was quite interesting. Some of the things were interesting, some of the ideas were interesting, but because of the fact that they got this unveiling so drastically wrong, I think that makes it less interesting, if that makes sense. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I'm sorry that you lost my face at the end of the episode. Hopefully that will not be the issue tomorrow. Yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you then. Bye.